Hello and welcome to this session. I am Raghav and today we will learn how to create the first Selenium test in Robot Framework, and we are using the Eclipse Red Robot Editor. So step number one is we have to install Robot Framework Selenium libraries. So if you go to your browser and go to robotframework.org, which is the official website for Robot Framework. So I'll just go to robotframework.org here, and here you will find an option for libraries. So on the Robot Framework website, you can go to the libraries section and find the libraries. So you will find these libraries here. Here are the libraries. I will go here, and you have the standard libraries, which are like the built-in libraries or the standard Robot Framework libraries. And then we have the external libraries. Now Selenium is an external library, and if you search for Selenium, you will find Selenium library here. So we have Selenium library. There was a Selenium 2 library, however that is deprecated, so do not go for that. We will go for the Selenium library, which is this one, and this is used for web browser testing using Robot Framework. Click here. It will take you to the GitHub page for this Selenium library, and this is the web testing library for Robot Framework. So Robot Framework actually has a lot of libraries, and you can use them for testing the application. For example, if you want to use a FTP testing, you can use a FTP library. We have so many other libraries. For example, you can see a Java FX, and then there will be some database libraries for doing database testing. So you can use Robot Framework for many other applications. In this session, we are interested in doing a web browser testing using Selenium library. So if I go down here, you can see some documentation on this library, and then finally you will see this option, the pip command to install. So this is pip install upgrade Robot Framework Selenium library. I'll copy this and also make this available in the notes, and all of these notes will be available to you. So this is the command pip install upgrade Robot Framework Selenium library. I will go to my Windows system, go to command line and use this command and say enter. And you can see in my case it was already there. So if I say pip list, you can see the Robot Framework Selenium library. I can also uninstall and install it again. So I will say pip uninstall, and I will use the same name here, which is Robot Framework Selenium library, and this will uninstall the library. So if I say pip list now, you can see there is no library for Selenium, and I will get this again with this command pip install upgrade Robot Framework Selenium library. So this will install the Selenium library, and I should find this in the pip list here. I will also check, I will say pip show and Robot Framework Selenium library. It will show me all the details, the version, the location on my system, and I will say pip check, and again this is showing me no broken requirements found. So I can now start using this Selenium library in Robot Framework. So step number 2 will be, I will write the step 2 here. It is we have to create a robot project on Eclipse. So this is on Eclipse. Go to Eclipse, create a robot project, and then we will create a test suite, and then we will start creating our test case. So in the last session, we have already started our project and also created a test suite. So if I take you to my Eclipse, you can see this is the robot project that we created in the earlier session, and we created a folder called test, and inside a folder we created a test suite, which is robot test suite 1.robot. And if I go here, this was the very first test we created, which was my first test, and we said use the keyword log hello world. Now to use Selenium, we have to get the library. So we have to use the settings section. If you start typing settings and press Ctrl and spacebar on your keyboard, you will get this option. So I will use this header settings, and now I have to use the name library. Again I will press Ctrl and spacebar. It will show me this auto suggestion, and here I have to use Selenium library. So this is the library I will be using. You can also find the usage in the same GitHub page. Let me also copy this in the notes so that it is very easy for you to follow. And this is the link from where you will get the documentation and the commands. And if you go down here, you can see this is how you use it. So this is how you have to use in the settings section. Say library, Selenium library. Make sure that there is a tabbed space in between these two. If you give a single space, that is considered a part of the same word. So there should be a tabbed space, and that's it. Now in case you are getting this red line like I am getting, you can just click inside this word and press Ctrl and 1 on your keyboard. That is Ctrl and 1, and you will get this option, discover Selenium library and add to configuration. If you click here, double click there, it will take you to red .xml, and here if you do not find this already added, it should get added automatically. If you do not find this, you can always go to this add Python library, and you can go to your Python. For example, in my case it is in program files and it is here in Python. Here if I go to lib and site packages, I should get my Selenium library. So you can see it is here. You can either take this init.py, and it should be here by default in case you have already added the Selenium library through Python. And then you can press Ctrl S to save and go back to your test suite. It should be resolved by now. In case it still shows any red line, you can go to your project and say clean. Select your project, or your project should be selected here, and say clean, and then you can save it again, and this should resolve any issues in getting the library. So this is how you will do the step number 2. You will create a test suite and get the library. Let me write it down here as well. So you have to add Selenium library in test suite, and now we can start creating our test case. Create Selenium test case and add the steps. So as we know, this is a keyword driven framework. We have a keyword driven approach. So I will create a test case first. Inside the test case section, I will say first Selenium test and hit enter. And now I can start creating my test case. Now Selenium library has some keywords for interacting with browser. For example, we have open browser, so I can say open browser, and also you can hover over the keyword. I will just click here and then hover over it so that I can see the documentation, and you can see I get this documentation. Click in the documentation and you can now browse, and you can scroll and you can see how exactly you can use it. So we use the URL and then we have to give the browser name. So for example, if you are using Firefox, you can say Firefox or FF. In case of Google Chrome, you can say Google Chrome, Chrome or GC, and so on. So this is how you can use it. You can just read the documentation. There are some links as well and some examples. So I will here say I want to go to https google.com. So this is what I want to go to, and then I want to use Chrome browser. Now if you do this, you will need your Chrome driver exe. So for that, what you have to do is you can go to your browser and go to seleniumhq.org, and this is seleniumhq.org, which is the official website for Selenium. You can go to download Selenium, and here if you scroll down, you will find this section, third party drivers, bindings and plugins, and here you will find the browser driver exe for different browser. For example, for Firefox we have Mozilla Gecko driver, for Chrome we have the Chrome driver, and similarly for other drivers. And you can actually go to the link here. For example, this is for Chrome driver. It will take you to the Chrome driver page, and from here you can get the latest release. So if I click here, it will show me this is the latest release, and you can download it from here for your operating system. For example, for Windows you can get the Win32, for Mac you can get this Mac 64, and for Linux this one. So you can get this Chrome driver, and once you have this, you can unzip this. So I will just unzip this. I'll say extract all, and I will just replace this, and it is here. Now you have two options from here. You can either provide the location, so you can say something like there's a keyword where you can say create WebDriver, and the WebDriver name is Chrome, and then you will have to give the executable path, and you give the location of your Chrome driver exe here. So that is one option. The other option is you can just keep your Chrome driver exe. So I will take it from here. I will copy or cut it from here, and I will go to my Python. So in my case it is in C, program files x86, and I have Python, and I will go to scripts, and I will keep this Chrome driver exe here, and my Python folder and Python scripts folder are already added in the path environment variable. So this location, if I go to my computer or this PC and do a right click and go to properties, go to advanced system settings and go to environment variables and check for path environment variables and say edit, you will see that this location is already added in my path environment variable. So that means whatever is inside this folder or this location, I can access it from anywhere on my system. So everything that is available here, for example, pip is available here. I can go to any location. For example, I go to any command line and go to any location. I will say pip. I will just use any pip command. I can use the pip command. If this is not available in the path, I will have to go to this location from the command line, which is Python scripts, and then only I can execute the files which are here. So because I have added it now, Chrome driver is available and I do not have to give any location. I can just say open browser. This is https google.com and Chrome. So if I save this, and I can do a right click here and say run test my first Selenium test, or you can see it will also be available here. If I go to this tree view and go to test cases, this is available here. I'll do a right click and say run, and this should start our tests. So this is running the test, going to open the Chrome browser and opens google.com, and we have not closed it. So we can also say close browser, press Control spacebar on your keyboard, Control and spacebar simultaneously. It will give you auto suggestion. So this is what I want to use. This is the keyword from Selenium library. I'm just going to use this, and it should close. So I will again run this, and it should open the Chrome browser. Yes, goes to google.com and closes it. Now as of now we are just opening the browser and closing it, going to a URL and then closing it. If I want to interact, so for example, if I go to google.com and I want to add or write something in this search box, I have to give its locator. So if I do a right click and go to inspect, I will find if there are any locators available. So you can see we have name equals q. So I can use this property, which is name equals q. So in my test, I can say input, press Control spacebar to see auto suggestion. I have option for input text. I will use this, and you can see I have to give a locator. So I'm saying name equals to q, and the text I want to give is, let us say, automation step by step, and this is I want to type. So let me just try to use this. I will just ident it, which is for the easy readability, and I will do a right click again and say run. So this opens Chrome browser, goes to google.com, and it has done our test is completed, but it was like very fast. So let me add some wait time. I can say here, let me see if there is a sleep keyword. I will say Control spacebar, and yes, there is a built keyword called space, and I want to wait for 2 seconds. Also, you might want to put some implicit waits. So for example, there is a keyword to put implicit weights. You can see set browser implicit weight and set Selenium implicit weight. I will use this and give the value to 5 seconds. So implicit weight is something like, in case some of your elements on the web page takes some time to load, if you do not put any weights, the Selenium script or the automation script will fail it because it will not find the element. So we are forcing that wait for some time before failing the script. So it will wait for at least 5 seconds and it will keep on polling for every 500 milliseconds until 5 seconds. I will close this again and run this. You can also log something like we have used in the earlier test case. I can say log, and this is a built-in keyword, and I will say test completed and enter and done. I will save this and run this again. So this opens the Chrome browser, goes to google.com, enters this and waits for some time and then finally closes the browser. Now we have just entered the text. We also want to click on the search button. So again, if you go to the search button and see what are the locators available, I will take this uh, arrow or a pointer and search for this button. And if you see, we again have the name btnk available. So I will say here click and press Ctrl spacebar to see the option. So I have option to click element or click button. I can use any. I will say click button. I will say name equals btnk and that's it. I do not need any data here. So they should click the search button. Let me run this again and it opens the browser and this is done. Waits for 2 seconds and finally closes it. Now if you have noticed, when you go to Google, if you type anything, for example I say automation, you can see there is a auto suggestion drop down that gets generated and it overlaps over the search button. So you can see this search button gets overlapped with the search results. So sometimes the automation framework or the Selenium script is not able to find this search button if it is overlapped. So in this case it is coming here, so that is fine, and it is, I believe it has the same name. So if I search this and I see the name is same, which is btnk, so it is actually clicking on this button. However, in case it is overlapped and you do not find the search button or the script does not find the search button, you can do two things. The first thing is you can actually, before clicking the button, we can press escape. So it is like I write something and then I press escape, it will close the auto suggestion and the search button is available again. So for that, let me find a keyword. I say press key and press Ctrl spacebar, and I can see there are two options. One is press key, but it says this is deprecated and use press keys. So I can go to this one, press keys, and you can also see the documentation how to use it. So I can use this, and the element where I want to press is again this name equals q, which is the search box, and then the key I have to press is escape. So I'm not sure if it should use ESC or ESCAPE. Let me try with this first and then I will see if it works with this. I will run the test again and let us see what happens. It goes to browser and yes, it worked, and then it should click on search, which I believe it did not click. There was an error, I think. If I go here, so you can see it says element not visible, and here if I see the element that it is trying to see, so it says element not visible. I can go to the report. So if you go to the console, you can see there is a report getting generated here. I will copy this and watch this on my browser, and here I will go to the logs and let us see what is the problem. So it is not able to see the element which is named btnk. So here I will say press the enter key, which is similar to clicking on the button, and this I will comment out. So I will press Control and / on my keyboard, that is Control and / simultaneously to comment this thing, and here I am just pressing the enter key. So I will run this again and let's see what happens this time. Yes, it is working fine now, and it should close it and everything is okay. So this is fine now, and I can always go back and check my report. So if I see my report now, everything is green. You can see the details here, and I can go to the logs and see my test suite and my test case, and everything is fine. So every keyword is working fine, and our test case is now completed. So this is how you can create a test case. So this is how you can create your first Selenium test in robot. In the coming sessions, we will see more about robot framework. I hope this session was very useful for you. Thank you for watching.